Welcome, Carol. Welcome, Kim, Cindy, Josie. Welcome, Kolek. Welcome, Carol. Welcome, Randall. Welcome, Catherine. I see Belle in here. Yay. Josie's back. Welcome, Regina. Welcome, Chantal. Vienna, Jules. So today we're going to start off with me sharing a channeled meditation. And in this summit, in this event, my intention is to encourage all of you in the development of your channel. So I'm going to share a little bit about my process and how I open to channel. I connect by saying a prayer. As I say the prayer, I experience this, what I call an elevation and expansion of consciousness. And then I do my best to communicate verbally what it is that I either see or feel or sense, or sometimes just hear. It's like this process of completely surrendering and then allowing whatever is naturally coming through to come through, knowing that through the prayer, through the intention that has been set, there's a channel created for divine energy, for divine insight. I feel like something that's important to approach our channel with is allowing our channel to be with what it is, like whatever it may be, letting go of any ideas of like, this needs to be powerful, this needs to be totally life-changing, it needs to be received in this way or in that way. Jules was on day 4. She was incredible. If you haven't seen that replay yet, if you weren't with us live, I highly recommend it. So she was sharing how our channel is different according to who we are channeling for. I'm sorry, I keep receiving calls, so I'm just gonna. Okay, so our channel in a sense varies depending on who we are channeling for. And I've experienced when I'm channeling for groups that are really open and are channeled themselves, it's like this increased potency to the channel. So part of the development of our channeling process when we're desiring to channel for other people is letting go of any expectation of it or expectation around how it will be received. When we're channeling, the energy that other people experience, the divine insights that they have, it's not us, it's them. We are simply opening up our receptivity to divine energy and divine insight, and that can serve to attune people to their own receptivity to divine insight and divine energy. But it's not actually coming from us, because divine insight, divine energy can only be sourced from source, from spirit, from the divine. And when somebody is really open and receptive and available, a lot can come through when we open. We can serve as a tuning fork, so to speak, and it can open up a lot for them. But if someone else is really strongly identified in their mind, if there's a lot of judgment, they can, in a sense, block their own connection. Does that make sense? Is that landing for everybody? And I really want to encourage you to approach this practice with curiosity and with playfulness. It can be so simple. It can be so sweet. It doesn't have to be some grand experience. And when you're channeling for others, it's always going to be experienced differently by each person there. I feel that it lands in whatever way it's meant to land. Whatever they are meant to receive, they will receive. Completely allowing, when you approach your channeling practice, for divinity to take over, to speak through you, to emanate through you. And I want to encourage a new relationship with anybody who you may receive guidance from, anyone who you perhaps receive channelings from or healing from, where there's no pedestal, where there's a recognition that what they are accessing, we all have access to. And that ultimately we are all human. This is all coming through a human mind, a human personality, a human ego. And we never fully transcend our humanity. How could we, while we're in these human bodies and experiencing everything through the lens of this human mind? And we don't have to become divine channels of divine insight, full permission to be imperfect, full permission to be kind of silly with it. Is that landing for everybody? How is this being received? Do you have any questions? So I block the allowance of the experience and just reading the chat. I'd really like to overcome my overthinking mind. I think that's where I block the allowance of the experience, searching for more that's happening. Perhaps just consistent practice will allow this. Absolutely. The intention merged with the practice is what allows us to develop a new relationship to our minds and to open more and more to channeling. And I really want to encourage you all to stick to the practice. Know that it develops over time. Any questions, or would you like to dive in? Should we try to set aside time every day, just like meditation? That's how I like to do it. There's something around creating a sacred space and getting really intentional with my practice that allowed me to develop my practice. And then after a few months of doing that, I remember maybe questions arising in the middle of a yoga class and just being like, all right, I'm going to open my channel now, or like on a flight and just like, okay, let me connect now. Let me see through that higher perspective now. The more that we practice channeling, the more that our mind finds this easier pathway, so to speak, with a higher perspective, and the more that our mind tends to merge with a higher perspective. So over time, through the development of my channeling practice, I started having experiences where I would have a thought that was like just very human, very much anchored in limiting beliefs that I've developed over the course of my life, and then immediately have a higher awareness. And I didn't have to intentionally open my channel or ask my ethereal beloveds. That connection was already better established, so that awareness was instant. Welcome, Monica. Yeah, Yeah, I've heard that everything is really us at the end of the day. Yes, that once we get beyond the belief that there are other entities, that there is just us. Could you speak to this? My personal experience of this, and that's really, I feel all I can speak to, my personal experience is that it's one consciousness that flows through all and that animates all. And it feels like there's this perfect divine synchronistic orchestration inherent within the totality of existence, of creation. There's like this life force energy, this divine energy that flows through all and animates, creates, gives life to all. And that energy to me feels like one. So from that perspective, it feels like we are all one to me. Like everybody, everything is actually an aspect, an extension of self, the same way that we are aspects and extensions of divinity. Yet it's a paradox because we're all one. And at the same time, we are presently expressing ourselves as these individuated, separate beings. The way that I see past lives from my channel is that it's not like, how do I put words to it? I don't see it as the soul retaining its full identity and having one life and then another life and then another life. I see the energies that create us merging with one another. And that's why so many of us on the planet at one time can feel such a strong resonance with a figure from the past, as if that was our past life. Why so many people may feel that they are carrying certain codes from the same being from the past. It's because those energies of that soul, that dharma, that karma, I feel can then incarnate in many different ways. I'm tuning into the chat again. I can hear my guides sometimes, but sometimes I'm not sure because they sound like my normal mind. Very, very confusing at times. How do I tell the difference? When I get chills at different parts of my body, I know that's them. However, I cannot do that at will. Yeah, because they sound like my normal mind. So our guides communicate to us through our minds. That's how we see them. That's how we hear them. And for many of us, we've been told ever since we were children, like, it's just your imagination. It's just your imagination, as a way of diminishing our imagination, but really it's our imagination that creates worlds. Your guides, your channel, God, spirit, when that communication comes in, it comes in through the mind. And if you're not sure whether it's your ego constructing something or a higher perspective, higher wisdom coming through, you can just ask. You can ask, you can tune into the feeling tone of it. How does this feel? Does it feel like love? Does it feel like peace? Does it feel expansive? Does it feel like truth? You can ask, where is this coming from? Get curious about, continue to ask questions and give your imagination full permission. Not trying to in any way control what comes in, not trying to even get too like judgmental of it all. Like, is it my imagination or is it really being channeled? Creating more of a playful, curious, open space can be really supportive to differentiating between the mind and a higher perspective, knowing that it's never one or the other. It's not like this is pure channel, this is purely my mind. It exists on a continuum. And we can just seek to get closer to channel insights versus the mental insights. Beautiful. Carol says, this is so interesting and makes sense. I'm glad it's interesting for you. I'm glad it makes sense for you. Amazing. Welcome everybody who is just tuning in. Okay, so I'm going to offer a brief meditation. This meditation is shared with you with the intention of supporting you in the cultivation of your own channel. And then after that, we're going to have Oren join us. And I'm really excited for you all to meet him. He was a mentor who I hired in 2018. He's absolutely brilliant. Okay. So as I begin to drop in, I would love to invite all of you to join me, begin to tune in. You're welcome to close your eyes if you're able to, if that feels resonant with you. You're welcome to come into a meditative seated position, or you're welcome to lay down. I'd love to invite you to come into a present state of consciousness, eliminating all distractions at this time so that you can fully receive. And perhaps begin to deepen your breath, as breath can be a beautiful carrier of energy. And if it resonates with you, if it is your desire, you can set the intention right now to open up to divine energy. Trusting your availability to receive divine energy. Knowing and experiencing yourself as a channel for divine energy. In this moment, releasing any expectations of what divine energy may be. And simply opening, allowing yourself to receive the gifts, the energy, the communication of your divine channel. I'm going to say my prayer, which helps me connect. Spirit, support me in coming into an elevated, expanded state of consciousness so that I may become one with your perspective. Set aside the totality of my personality so that I may serve as a clear channel for your divine love, energy, and whatever it is you may wish to communicate to all before me, to all tuning into the replay, as they open to the continued development of their divine channel. Allow me to see all who are present before me as they are seen in the light of the Akashic records. Help me to know them as they are known in the mind of spirit, and enable me to serve as a channel for the energy and the communication that would most serve them in the development of their divine channel. And so it is. Thank you, Spirit, for this sacred transmission. The Akashic records are now open. I'd love to invite you in this moment to open to the expansiveness of your breath as you breathe deeply. And open to the possibility, the potential, the divine energy that flows through you. that you always have access to, that is always with you. In this moment, consciously, intentionally calling it forth, inviting it into your body, into your mind, into your heart. Anchoring in trust in your unique and beautiful capacity to call forth divine energy and divine perspective through you. And allowing this energy as it streams into your consciousness, into your body, to envelop you in unconditional love, a celebration of all that you are, a love for all that you are, all aspects of you embraced in this divine energy, knowing that all parts of you are welcomed here as you open to channel. No need for perfection, no need for you to be any more than you are, to be completely and totally equipped to channel, to welcome divine love and divine wisdom into your life, to begin every day to live more and more divine love and divine wisdom. You, as you are right here and now, is perfect, is ready. There's nothing more that you need to be, become, develop. You are wholeheartedly welcomed here as you are. And allow this unconditional love, this complete and total celebration and acceptance of you to elevate your frequency even higher as you allow yourself to come closer to the divine mind, allowing an ever increasing resonance with your mind, your human mind, and the divine mind. Releasing any and all expectations you may have of this moment and allowing it to be what it is, accepting and embracing it exactly as it is. That is what allows you to open to potential and possibility. That is what allows you to either take baby steps or quantum leap in your spiritual development. So right now we are bringing in the energy of acceptance. Acceptance for all that we are, acceptance for life as it is, acceptance of our humanity. This acceptance is setting a pure, clear, more potent foundation for our access to the divine mind. And as this love, this acceptance moves through our consciousness, makes its way through our body, becoming integrated, becoming embodied. I invite you to open, if it resonates with you, to your divine power, to divine possibility, divine potential. Bringing your awareness in this moment to your breath, to your heartbeat, tuning into the miraculousness of your breath, way in which you take in life force energy, circulate it through your body, and animate you and all that you are simply through breathing in, tuning into the way in which your heart beats magically, miraculously, the way in which your body digests, the way in which your mind thinks, all of it, this magical miracle that you are one with, all of it orchestrated by divinity, a miracle beyond the comprehension of the human mind. The human mind is very limited awareness of the divine orchestration that gives life to you, to your body, to your breath, to your heartbeat, to your mind, to your intelligence, your brilliance, your wisdom. In this moment, bringing forth the awareness that it is divinity orchestrating all of this through you, as you, for you. Divinity is with you in every breath that you take, in every beat of your heart. There you will find God. And it's through the awareness, the recognition of the magic, the miracle that is you. We set the foundation for our access to the divine mind as knowing that we are always one with divinity, that divinity flows through us with every breath, with every heartbeat, that it is what is giving life to every cell of our body. And calling forth in this moment the intelligence, the brilliance, the miraculousness of the cosmos, knowing that the same energy that holds the planets in orbit, that makes the sun shine, that catalyzed the Big Bang, that is the same energy that flows through our bodies. We are made of divinity. One with divinity, infinitely and eternally. Divinity is our home, it is our source, it is from where we have come and from where we will return. And we are never far from God, we are never far from divinity. And in this moment, through this recognition, through this remembering, we call the divine in closer into our lives, proclaiming that we are ready to open ever more deeply to this relationship with the divine, calling God into our lives, allowing ourselves to be open and receptive to this love, to this wisdom, knowing at times it may contradict the beliefs of our mind. And that's okay. This time we give ourselves permission to open to something greater, something grander, transcending what we've known, what we've believed, into what could be. Trusting in the benevolent love that is inherent within all of existence, all of creation, all of life. Knowing and trusting that that love is here for us, with us. That that love always has our backs, is supporting us in all that we are and all that is. That love is everywhere and everything. Letting that love in, and that love being the foundation for our channeling practice and for us opening to receive. Our channel, our access to the divine mind, to divine love, to divine wisdom. That love is the bridge between our human mind and the divine mind. It is the pathway between our consciousness and the infinite and eternal knowing of the Akashic records. Love leads the way. And when we are open and willing to be led by love into love, we open these pathways for ourselves to access the Akashic records, to commune with the divine mind, to know divine love in our own hearts and our own lives. Letting love lead the way, trusting in love as the ultimate truth, beyond our fears. Knowing that our spiritual development, the opening of our psychic gifts, always led by love, always catalyzed by love. Love as the ultimate truth of life. Letting this energy that is streaming in to expand our capacity to perceive and receive love, receiving any limitations we may have of love, of what is love and what is not love, expanding our experience of love, allowing it all to be a reflection of love. So much of our lives is created through how and what we receive and perceive. Putting on the lens of love allows us to have a more intimate, closer, purer relationship with our divine channel, because our divine channel sees all through the eyes of love, unity, trust, faith, potential, possibility. Love to invite you to deepen your breath. Allowing your inhalations, your taking in of life force energy through your breath to be a means of you taking in the energy of this transmission as it has been orchestrated by you through the uniqueness of your channel, as relevant to you. You as the receiver, the orchestrator of this transmission. The energy streaming into you directly from source. You are a divine channel. You always have been. And now we are awakening to an even greater trust in our channel. Cultivating an intentional and conscious relationship to our channel. Just knowing that we are worthy, that we are capable, that it is an inherent and natural gift to channel, to commune with divine love, to commune with divine wisdom. And as we begin to ground and integrate these energies, these insights, if it resonates with you, if it inspires you, you can invite divine love, divine wisdom into your life, into your body, beyond the experience of this meditation. Perhaps inviting it to be present with you for the rest of your day, to be felt in your heart, in your body, to be experienced throughout the moments of your day. Letting this experience here be one where you deepen in your relationship to spirit, source, divinity, God. God, I am ready to receive you. I know that I am worthy of receiving you, of living your love, of living your wisdom. And I know and trust that living your love and living your wisdom is what allows me to experience the kingdom of heaven right here and right now. And as a child of God, as a child of life, Pachamama, Spirit, I know that this is my divine inheritance to experience your love, here in this body, in this human experience now. Thank you, Spirit, so much for this sacred transmission. May it all be integrated with ease and grace to serve each and every one of you present here. Thank you for co-creating this field and to serve each and every one of you listening to the replay. Thank you for your contribution to this transmission. I love you, Spirit. I love you, life. So much love and gratitude for each of you present here today, each of you tuning into the replay. And so little by little, at your own pace and your own way, I'd love to invite you to allow these energies to begin to settle into your body, to ground into your everyday level of consciousness as we begin to bring the consciousness back into the body, into this now moment. Perhaps taking some really deep breaths, moving the body in whatever way you feel called. Just opened my eyes and I saw Oren's radiant, twinkly love eyes and face on the screen. So I see Oren here with us. Welcome, Oren. We are all emerging from a little meditation, a channel transmission.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was a channel transmission designed to activate the cultivation of our own channel.
Nice.
Yeah. I see some of you joined us during the transmission. This replay will be posted later today. I highly recommend receiving it. Yeah, and as we begin to ground in, I would love to introduce Oren. Oren is such a perfect transition from that yummy, divine space. I met him for the first time outside of a grocery store in LA. And within like probably a minute of interacting with him, I was like, whoa, the love this man emanates and the depth of his presence. I was like, whoa, who is he? And shortly afterwards, I actually hired him as a coach. And I learned so much about love, ease, presence. He has a way to him that is very natural, authentic. I feel like he moves through life with a lot of unconditional love, a lot of acceptance. He also embodies this multidimensionality that is incredibly unique and powerful. I feel like every time I speak to him, it's like he offers these transmissions that are so beyond just the human communication and what we're saying to each other. It's like I feel him working on multidimensional levels. It's really fascinating. For me, he has a super unique consciousness that I love. And I was really inspired by this talk that he gave recently. Some of you were on Avea's summit. He spoke there with his beloved Chelsea, and Chelsea was speaking about him. And she was like, this man is endlessly and like always in service. Like, it's like he has this infinite amount of energy to love and to serve. So when I heard that, I was like, wow, he's got to be on Becoming a Channel. Yeah. So I'd love to pass it over to you, Oren. And I mean, there's so many things that I would love to ask you, but I'd love to start off. Well, I'd love to hear what you want to share with us. And I'm also curious about how you access this like endless source of service, because I see you on Instagram Live, sometimes like 3 or 4 times a day. And this is like after he's got this like group membership portal that my soul sister who I'm living with, Avea, is a part of. And she'll like come into his calls, like, with these things that she wants to ask about. And then she leaves like floating, like she's on cloud 9. So he'll be doing that. And then he's on Instagram Live. And then who knows what else. And then like back on Instagram Live. It's like endless channeling and service. Like, how do you do it? Where does it all come from?
Comes from God.
Of course.
I'm slightly delirious, which is absolutely perfect. I just landed on Big Island in Hawaii last night from the East Coast to reunite with my beloved, and that was yummy. Infinite energy is what we are. right? Literally, like we are infinite energy. So to the and there's many things I can share that have been beneficial to cultivating that, awakening in that, nurturing that. It's specifically like we were talking about just like life force energy, and then life force energy directed towards service. One thing I find fascinating about energy is that because we're human and divine, or divine humans, we really, in a way, don't know how much energy we have. Like on a physiological, biological level, you can measure that just by your mood and your energy level. You say, okay, this is my bandwidth, but we're also infinite energy and we're divine, right? And so there's probably an extraordinary amount of energy in the experience of being human, definitely in the collective consciousness. An extraordinary amount of energy gets utilized in just trying to be like a good human. Right. And what I mean by that is that, okay, most stress is the difference or the tension between who we think we should be and who we really are. So who we really are in our most natural, authentic state is infinite. We are an infinite array of flavors and expressions and manifestations and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But in our most natural state, it doesn't take energy to be us, right? Raise your hand if you've ever been in the zone or in a flow state and you're like in this like a channeled state, or genius is flowing through you, or in the right place at the right time, or you're just on this next level, most badass version of yourself. If you notice, it doesn't actually take much energy. You're regenerating energy. You are a source of energy. And what I'm saying is that that actually is our natural state. And so when we look at how much energy we have at the end of the day, or how much energy we expend doing anything in our lives, in any moment, we could be expending a ton of energy and still be like highly functioning, vital, and alive. And so to your question, Daniela, I think that just over time, over many years, for many reasons, as I've come more and more to accept and love myself and love all parts of myself, I've become more and more efficient in the amount of energy that I'm taking. So another way, really fun, simple way to say it is I just be me, right? So that doesn't, like, even right now, as I'm expressing myself on 3 hours sleep, right? I don't have all this extra bandwidth and energy in the background that actually takes energy. Like, what am I going to say? What about this? What about that? What if they like me? What if they don't like me? You know, all of these things that go on in our conscious or subconscious mind actually is like background programs running on our computer. They're actually like, they're like a life force energy. So as you close these tabs, right? If you can imagine you're this infinite hard drive, and at any given time, even right now in this moment, you might have 4 tabs open, you might have 17 tabs open on your hard drive. And each one of those tabs represents life force, awareness, consciousness. And so as you close those tabs, then more of your energy comes into the present moment and you have more energy. All right. So that's the first. Where do you want to go from here?
That's amazing. Yeah, okay. I would love to hear from everybody present here. If you have any questions for Oren, you're welcome to share them in the chat box, or if there's anything you would like to receive from him. Something that I'm curious about, Oren, is you specifically are an example in my life of someone who consistently embodies and radiates unconditional love and acceptance. Like, I feel like you have a force field around you where when I come into the field, I immediately feel love and acceptance. And I'm curious what you feel may support all of us present here today in developing more of that.
So here's something that came to me recently, and just see how this feels in your body, how it resonates in your being, how it feels in your heart. I love myself even when I'm not loving myself. I love myself even when I'm not loving myself. That's like a code that can pop you out of the matrix, right? Because our hearts are naturally attuned to unconditional love, right? We naturally resonate with that frequency because in essence, it's who we are. And so then if we learn knowledge, spiritual knowledge about love, and we're in the practice of becoming more and more loving, and in the awareness if we're being loving towards ourselves, towards others, and all of that is great. I think where that can be, where we can get stuck in that is when we're not loving ourselves, right? And if you can love yourself when you're not loving yourself, if you can allow love itself to love you, if you can allow love to enter you even when you're not loving yourself, then in a sense, you've broken free from a kind of mental trap, right? It's like judgment's the same thing. It's like if you realize judgment feels out of resonance, it doesn't feel good when you judge yourself, when you judge other people. So then you're all ambitious. You're like, okay, I'm going to do my best to judge myself less and less and less. I'm not going to judge myself. And then you start judging yourself for judging yourself. Right. And you get, raise your hand if you've ever done that before. You're like, oh shit, I'm judging myself. And you're like, oh damn, now I'm judging myself. It'll almost like feel like you're stuck in a box, right? Love can be very much that way from our human perspective, even in our desire towards it, right? And so if we can go into this full submission, full surrender, and just allow ourselves to be loved, if that's easier than saying I love myself when I'm not loving myself, all right? If you can tune into I'm loved even when I'm not loving myself, then essentially you won't constrict or block the flow of love from entering you again. Is this helpful? Raise your hand if you guys are with me on this. This is a big one for me to realize that, oh, I, the one who's seeking love, I don't need to even figure out, right? This is where we get stuck sometimes. I see people get stuck. They're like, man, I'm doing my self-love practice. I'm trying to love myself. I'm doing my affirmations. I'm writing in my journal. And I was like, they're like, Oren, I just feel so much judgment and fear. It's not working, not realizing that they're still working. There's still an assumption there that I, the one who's seeking, the seeker, needs to do something in order to find love. I actually just found a spoken word I freestyled and reposted on my Instagram a couple of days ago. I remember the essence of it. It was something like, stop seeking, searching, trying to find love. When love is inside of you, love is inviting you. Love is not hiding from you. It's always ever present. So we can look at it as a motion towards it, like we're saying something, doing an activity that is allowing us to come into the resonant field of love, or we're stopping doing something, or surrendering, or letting go, or allowing, or just, and it's like in that moment, the love that already is comes into you, into your being. It's almost like a hose, where the water is flowing and it's running. The water is always running. You can kink the hose, but if you let go of it, then it's like you experience the flow of it. The flow of water is like the flow of love. So it's not really a suggestion more than it is a perspective. If there was a suggestion in that, it's have compassion for yourself, no matter where you're at, no matter what you're feeling, no matter what you've done, because compassion will soften you. Let yourself be witnessed, or witness yourself in whatever it is that you're experiencing, because this will allow the frequency of love to penetrate through the veils that's being projected by the mind in fear or in judgment, Because when we go into fear or judgment, then we tend to isolate ourselves, and then we create the illusion that love's gone. We're like, love, where'd you go, love? Where's my channel? I need you. Where's my guides go? You guys are hiding from me. Come on, I'm praying. I'm praying. Send me a sign. Send me, where's my squad at? And it's like, it's like the squad doesn't go away. Your guides don't go away. Love doesn't go away. The flow doesn't go away. Like literally ever. They don't take vacations. Your intuition doesn't take vacations. It's not a part-time job. It's like 24/7, always right here, right now, in this very hot second. It's just our human mind's interpretation of that energy or misinterpretation that can create the illusion that love goes away because we're not feeling it, right? Or love's not present because we feel like poop or whatever you want to, whatever explicative word you want to use. All right. Are you guys feeling me? Give me some, this is like a virtual hug right here.
So feeling you.
Need some hugs this morning.
This is brilliant, Oren. This is like the perfect transition from the meditation. Now you're just bringing it forth in this really brilliant way. I love it. Thank you. I'm receiving so much from this, like so many codes landing. Yes. And can I ask you another question?
Please. I love questions. I love
Okay.
questions.
Yeah. I know Oren works well with questions. I kind of want to take us into another direction.
Let's go.
I am so inspired by you and Chelsea. Chelsea is Oren's beloved, and they have a relationship that for me is like one of the highest examples I've really ever seen of divine union. There is so much love between them. It's unbelievable. And I know that relationships can be a really challenging place for many of us. So I'm curious what may want to come through you around cultivating such a pristine space of love, because when I watch you and Chelsea, it's like you're so supporting each other and elevating each other, and you've been together for a while, but there's this energy between you two that's like palpable, like you're just so into each other, and it's felt and it's powerful and it's really unique. And I feel like we would all love that kind of love in our lives.
Yeah. We're kind of obsessed with each other. I mean, in the best way. We were apart for 3 weeks just recently, so we're like knee deep in the love sauce right now. This is a good question, and it feels like it ties into what I was just sharing, and definitely ties into channeling. I'm not sure what you guys have covered in terms of becoming a channel, but it's all connected here. So I feel like in some ways consciously, in other ways unconsciously, just by virtue of who we were and who we are when we came together, that we have done our best or are doing our best to mimic the relationship we have with our higher selves and with source, with each other, right? And that's a really good way to like start to integrate your channel, right? Can I speak a little on channeling here? Yeah.
Oh yes,
This is
please.
becoming a channel, right? So as an individual, and then I'll talk about our relationship, and then I'll link this into channeling. So kind of like I was saying, I love myself even when I don't love myself. Those words work for me. But if they didn't work for me, maybe at another time, it might be like, well, God loves me even when I don't love myself. And if I can be open to that, then I'm at least going to be in proximity to, the love of the creator, right? And so, but over time, and some of this is so integrated in me that it's taking me a moment to like kind of decode it here. I have intentionally, definitely through periods of my life, intentionally decided to do my best to love myself like God loves me, or like my inner being or my higher self loves me, right? And set that as the foundation and the basis of my relationship, and have that be the governor of my perception, have that be my kind of like lighthouse or true north. If I'm going through anything or, feeling disconnected, that I am not just seeking to like feel better or solve some life situation. What is primary to me is my connection between me and the source within, and my relationship to love. That's primary, right? It's like, keep the main thing the main thing. I heard a quote, I've quoted this many times. I'm not a Bible expert at all, but it says, seek ye first the kingdom and all else will be added on to you. All right. To me, it's the kingdom of love. And so no matter what's going on inside me and inside my world, and I'm going to translate this into our relationship, that is primary. It's like the hack. It's the shortcut. It's the place that we're trying to get to always. It's at the core of every single desire that we have on some level, is our desire to know God, to be one with God's source, the infinite, to be one with love, right? You can raise your hand if that makes sense, if you're following me in this. Okay. So since that's at the core, and that's kind of the kingdom, and I'm not dismissing the external kingdom, because that's the all else will be added on to you, like a real lover that you can come, in the middle of the night after not having seen each other for 3 weeks and make delicious love. Side note, right? It's not like saying that we don't want the solution to our problem on a practical life level, or to actually live this experience of life. What I'm saying is, if you seek first the essence, then all else will be added on to you. And so to me, that's how I live my life. Now, coming into our relationship, that's the foundation of our relationship. And so our commitment is to love. That includes the relationship, versus our commitment being to the relationship. All right. The relationship is the kingdom as well, but our commitment is to love. Our devotion is to love. All right. To love, and to loving ourselves and each other unconditionally. And so I'm devoted to her heart and to her soul, period. Not if it's comfortable or convenient, not if I'm getting what I want, just period. All right. And she is devoted to my heart and to my soul and to love, period. All right. Are you guys liking this? Give me some snaps if you're feeling me on this. Right. So when you have that as a foundation, then when you're course correcting, like if something goes wrong, you get into a disagreement, you're expanding, learning, growing, it kind of like creates this force field, or this like vortex of energy, because both of us have chosen with our free will, with our own power, to have our greatest desire be for the kingdom, which is love. And so if we're expanding or going through something, neither one of us is interested in being right or wrong. It's like boring, oh yeah, I'm right. Okay, yay. You're wrong. Oh, okay. Whew, felt a little dose of power. That power, which is not actually power, that hit of like, oh, I'm right. I feel safe now. It pales in comparison to love. And so when you have two people that are like, hey, my deepest devotion is to love, right? And one access point to love is truth. Truth is not positive or negative. It just is. Like, what is actually true here, right? And I'm using this as an example because relationships and the mirror of relationship can be challenging and is designed for growth, right? If you now have two people that are like, hey, we want more than anything the truth, and the truth will lead us to love, which will bring us to harmony and connection and power, and thus unlock our evolution and our highest potential, then these are the foundations of our relating. And so I've never said that in those words before, but you asked me the question, I'm thinking about like, yeah, there's tools and things I can tell you about communication and how we do this and how we do that and all the relationship stuff. But if you get what I'm saying right here, or even just like a little taste, a little dose of it, then any tool or technique or communication thing or exercise will be so much more fruitful, and it will return you to love, which will return you to your power, which will evolve your soul. And so our relationship is anchored in that. And that's why, we don't get hung up on things for like long periods of time going around and around, because like we're like, beelined to the truth, to the love. And so the field of our relationship, because it's anchored in love in that way, backed by our devotion, then now when we're learning, growing, expanding, problem solving, or co-creating an empire together, or whatever we're co-creating, it's not just us two humans. It's us two humans and the field of love, which is the field of source and infinite intelligence. And so it's like the field itself is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. All right. And this applies to your life the same way it does to relationship. Any goal, vision that you have, anything that you're imagining, anything that you're moving towards, whether it's something you're inspired towards or you're problem solving and trying to solve a challenge, you can either, this is not black or white, it's a spectrum. You can either be like, how do I create that dream? Or how do I solve this problem? Or how do even I heal myself or transform myself? Or you could be like, how do we, this is the big I, we, when you're in this I connected to the heart, even if you say the word I, when you've expanded beyond yourself, then now when you say, how can I do this? You haven't cut out your whole fucking squad. And who's your squad? Life, the universe, your angels, your team, your squad, your family, your community, your tribe, humans you've never even met yet, because they're on a synchronistic grid already lined up perfectly to help you with whatever you're trying to accomplish. That's the we. So there's an extraordinarily different disposition that we have, and level of confidence and level of certainty, level of safety and power that we're going to have handling anything in life. It's going to be vastly different if we're talking about I, just me and my skills and knowledge and resources and how much I have, versus I, my infinite self, which is we. So what I'm saying is we in our relationship are anchored in this we field. I can't tell you how many things, like in the beginning of our relationship, when our souls collided or merged together, and and things that came up in the field to be transformed. I cannot count how many things came up in the field where we didn't have to expend much energy, like doing much of anything, because we were in a space of humility and openness and devotion to love, such that, like, Chelsea could say it way better than I can, because she had a shocking experience of this in the beginning of our relationship. Shocking, like in the best way. She's like, oh my God, like I'd have a story come up from like a past relationship, and she's like, literally it's getting obliterated in the field. And like, it cannot thrive. It cannot gain any momentum. Like limiting beliefs and things were coming up in the field without us sitting down and processing them or taking time with our, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that. I'm saying that there's this whole extra support that you always have, always. And that's what I mean when I say, let the divine do some of the heavy lifting. In this case, I'm describing it as the field of our love itself. And so many things, yeah, we talk through things sometimes, right? But so many things are being transformed by the field itself. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if you're with me on that. Right. And so I'm talking about like transformation. I'm talking about co-creation, whether it's towards something amazing or you don't feel good and you want to feel better. That's still a creation. And what I'm pointing to here is that space of love, when it's open like that, when it's so active, now put it into the yummy aspect of love. Because I was talking about like it transforms anything. It does the work for you. If you can imagine how much, I'm trying to describe love in all its ways in relationship, right? How much light and how much love coming through our hearts in the form of adoration and generosity and love and loving each other. You can imagine how much of that is possible when your heart's that open. When your space is that open to allow, it just amplifies everything. So we don't work on obligation, expectation, roles. We don't do that. We don't do those things. It's appreciation. And it's interesting when two people are like not in expectation of one another in a way that can be like allowing less. And when there's just appreciation, it's like, oh no, let me do this for you. No, let me do this. It's like, it just compounds itself. So there's a little bit of the love sauce.
So good. I cannot wait to listen to this replay. I feel like I want to take notes, dissect it. So many brilliant moments, like things where you're like, wow, wow, wow. Like, yes. Yeah, I really admire the way that you and Chelsea are, in my mind, it's like you two are paving the way for what is possible for us in relationship. So thank you.
My pleasure. Our pleasure.
Mm.
And I can connect this to channeling because I said I would do that if
Yeah.
you like me to.
Yes, please.
So this model of human relationship that we're calling divine union, right, is the same thing that's happening with us, within us as individuals, and coming into union with our own hearts, with our own soul, and with God within, right? And essentially, this is really good to use my relationship as an example, because the way I'm describing my relationship, which is a bit difficult to describe, but the energy of divine union itself is essentially what you could say, or in my experience, what is happening when we're in a channeling state is that it's like we're merging with our divine, or with the divine, right? Just give me a moment to get the words here, because like channeling can be interpreted in different ways, right? We're all channels. We're all channeling all the time. It's something that is quite natural to us, right? Especially when we feel safe and our heart's open and we're not using a lot of our power and bandwidth to try to protect ourselves, right? Then anything that we're in love with, we start to become one with. And you could even say that love is like unity. It's like communion, and communion is communication. So when you are in love with something and you're at one with it, there's less separation between you and that thing. Whether you say, I love art, I love dancing, or I love this person, or I love God, the state itself is one of unity. And anything that you become one with, you have access to, right? Because you are it, you're becoming one with it, right? This is very much how, like, a baby is a great example. If you're teaching a baby how to talk or how to do something, and you're saying things and they're getting, you have symbols, you're like, pen, right? This is pen, it's for writing. Yes, there's neural pathways opening in the brain and activity and all that type of stuff. And it's coming into language, but on a vibrational level, the reason that babies and young children, and we're all babies and young children, if we're being honest, can learn so fast is because they're not interpreting the information through a filter called I. They haven't developed a persona structure with judgment and I should be this, I should think this, I should be able to walk by now, I'm already one, my other baby friends are walking, I feel so embarrassed, right? They're just like channeling, right? And so they're in this channeling state. And so what I'm saying is it's actually a natural state. And in relationship, it might look like finishing each other's sentences, right? We're channeling each other. But anything that you become one with in your heart and in soul, it's like you attune to that station. All right. It's like the word manifestation. It's like manifest stations. There's all these different stations or states, it's a flow state. There's a state of joy, the state of anger, the state of frustration. Right. And I'm going to tie this back to love as well. Can you guys hear me okay? It's raining out here quite a bit. And so you can hear me or no? We're good? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And so, if you imagine, like, there's all these different radio stations, there's 96.8, the hip hop station, 100.6, the jazz station, right? And if you go on the jazz station, then there's all kinds of different music. It's infinite, but it's all within the jazz station. But if you tune over back to 106.5, the hip hop station, it's hip hop universe. Everything there is hip hop. Those are stations. Those are states, right? And all states exist in consciousness. And so you are, in your essential nature, consciousness. And when you are connected to love or allowing love or have returned to your innocence, even for a moment, then now you're not inside, your station's not reduced to the box called I that includes your ideas, your thoughts, your beliefs, conscious, subconscious. So when you open up your aperture, you're able to tune from one station to the other, right? And I'm likening this to a baby learning, because a baby is like in this channeled state. And so when they're witnessing, they're not taking things through their brain and go, oh, let me human, understand this and then apply this thing and then get a result. They may be doing that on some level, but on an energetic level, it's like permeating the field. This person is transmitting light frequency to me of what this means. There's a feeling, there's a vibration. And because they don't have that filter blocking out the information, then they're able to translate that information, and that the means of translating itself is channeling. You guys follow me so far? Yeah. Just checking in with you. Right. So whether you're dancing or speaking or singing or rapping or channeling another entity or in an inspired state or making love and you disappear and you merge into one and you have cosmic sex, those are all taking you. I saw somebody smile when I said cosmic sex. What's up, Monica? She's like, yeah, cosmic sex. Say less, say less. And so all of those have the capacity to take you into the same space that is like this channeling space. So when you're dancing, for example, it's easier for most people to get into a channel state, right? Because you're like, I'm just dancing. It's just for fun. So then when you get out of your head and into your heart and into your body, then whatever vibrations and feelings are moving through you, right? You're literally channeling them into expression, right? And when you do that really effortlessly, you feel liberated, you feel free. You don't feel like I am dancing. There's just the dance, because you've become one with the vibration and the energy, and you're translating the light, the frequencies of light and energy into expression, in this case called dancing, right? But when you're really in yourself and in the moment, there's no separation. You see what I mean when I say communion? It's communication. The communication becomes more pure. The translation it's like whether you're feeling or hearing, like you like bass beats or whatever it is that moves you, then the actual manifestation becomes effortless, because there's not a dancer dancing. There's just dance happening. That's a channeled state. All right. It's the same thing with a work of art. It's the same thing if you're songwriting. It's the same thing when you're making love. It's the same thing. So if you say, like, I'm going to channel Einstein, or I'm channeling Archangel Michael, or I'm channeling Oren, if you can match the frequency of that which you are channeling through love. I use love as an example. It's like, well, If you love dancing, then there's a higher chance you're going to get into a channeled state, right? But that applies to anything, especially if you look at love as being able to permeate something. So if there's a station called Archangel Michael in consciousness, there is, right? It's a vibration. It's a unique perspective. It's a vibrational frequency. If you tune to that station, like the baby, right? And you're able to allow and free yourself of your personal biases, then that the same way you could feel the beat and just like dance and effortlessly manifest as this form of expression, it would be the same thing. The biggest obstruction there would be your mind, the identity perceiving in separation, saying, but I'm not Einstein, or I'm not Oren, or I can't, whatever, fill in the blank. Are you guys vibing? It's early over here in the morning in Hawaii. So I want to zoom out for a moment to set a not bigger, but a foundation. This is something I've been tracking for years and came to me years ago. And I started talking about this with the flow, but I want to speak about it in terms of channeling. If you're familiar with the flow, you guys said you've been in a flow state before. There's everyone wants them some flow, want to hack in the flow, tap into the flow, figure out how to get in that zone. It feels awesome, right? It feels superhuman when we're in the flow. It's not even a theory. I'm only saying it as a theory just to, kind of keep myself in check here. But what if the flow was actually a glimpse into human evolution? What if this seemingly supernatural state that we're calling a flow state, that at this point in our human evolution, we're looking at as this thing we're hacking into, what if it's actually just us? What if it's version 6.0 human? What if it's divine human 3.6, whatever? What if it's actually showing us something that's actually natural, right? That is significant. And in my experience, that is what's happening. Right? It seems supernatural, but as I've said before, the supernatural is supernatural, meaning it's so natural that it's abnormal. And somebody's, oh my God, that's abnormal. That's like supernatural. Whoa. And what I'm saying is it's so natural, but so rare that it's like abnormal, right? And then what we're calling normal is actually so unnatural, wild. So I feel like a flow state is a glimpse into, call it an evolved human or just our more natural human state. And it's the same thing with channeling. I feel like from our human perspective, we can experience channeling or even flow like I am in awe. Wow, how did I do that? How did that happen? But again, I feel like it's actually our natural state. Right? So just setting that as a foundation of like, okay, what if that was the norm? What if the scales tilted and that was the norm, and being in the what you would call the norm now was the dream state, or the thing that was wild, the thing that you were like, wow, that's amazing when I'm disconnected, or when I'm, what I mean? Or when I'm like that, but what if that was the anomaly and not being in our natural state? I really feel like that's what's happening, and even you guys know Abraham Hicks? Raise your hand if you heard of him. I haven't listened to them in years, but this came to me intuitively years ago, and I've been tracking this and seeing it in many different places. Even like Esther Hicks, if you listen to her voice if you go back far enough into her videos or their archives and you listen to her voice, it was like higher, like, you know what I mean? It's like the frequency, the voltage, that level of light frequency coming through her her eye, she had to calibrate to it, attune to it. Right. And she's part of the audience in that sense, because she's tuning into that station, that channel, that frequency of consciousness. Right. It used to be shouting. Right. Exactly. Hey, go, calm down, girl. Go. Anyway, but over time, because that frequency is coming into her and it's integrating, right? And she's drinking the Kool-Aid too, taking the medicine too, taking in the frequency that resonates, then over time, notice how it started changing her voice. I mean, she didn't sound like a black man, but notice how it started changing her voice because she merged with that frequency. So that's an example of what I'm saying, right? It's like she's both channeling this consciousness that she's intimately connected to while simultaneously becoming it. And I think that's why, like, for me, in that sense, in the world of channeling, I would be like a living channel, meaning it's not like there's Oren and then I go into a channeled state. I more so have over time just liberated my heart and my consciousness. And so that in me that you might call my higher self is more just me. Does that make sense? Right. So, yeah, Abraham, I think Bashar is another one. And Bashar's even said this before. I've heard him. It's like, he's becoming the channel. And so it's like we're tuning into something else, but because we're connected to a field of unity consciousness. And in that sense, I mean, gets deeply philosophical, or it can, when we say we are everything. In that sense, we are everything because we're connected to the field. And so it's not any more complicated to channel a dance or to channel a freestyle rap or to channel your lover or to channel a piece of a beautiful work of art. The channeled state itself is a state of receptivity. And from that receptivity, maybe the uniqueness of it is connected to your own soul, right? And your own mission and your own template. So in that sense, it's being uniquely coded to you, but then your soul is connected to the infinite. And that's where we have access to anything and everything, because everything, all knowledge, all information even, is frequency. So how are we doing? We doing good, y'all? All right. Daniela, back to you. Back to you, D.
You are absolutely someone who I experience as a living channel. Like, it feels like you're always in that state and you're always emanating that channeled love. You're always like, you're consistently operating from that higher perspective, relating from there.
I would say it's my, probably the most grounded way I could say it is it's like my baseline, right? Baseline meaning it's when I say the word I and how I relate to myself, within myself, I relate to myself more as my true self, right? I don't have a lot of solidity to all of my different ways that I can show up in terms of me being like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And so over time, I would say it's my baseline. And that's probably why it's consistent. You know, I wouldn't say it's constant, but what is constant? What is constant? And I'm trying to put some tangibility to something that is dynamic. It's not like I'm woke and that's it, right? Like, we're evolving souls. But what I would say is very stable and grounded in me is the knowingness of who and what I am. And so no matter if I'm playing through the relative spectrum of playing a role in a moment or an identity, or even going through having a mood or anything like that, my reference point, as I said, if I'm navigating something, or even if I feel like, oh, I'm disconnected, or I feel disconnected from love or from inspiration or from my channel, that knowingness and that awareness, that observer perspective, if you could say, is constant with me. And so I don't ever feel like I'm disconnected, if that makes sense. I don't ever believe that I am. I don't ever believe that I am. It doesn't matter if it feels like I'm in hell and I'm like, man, I don't see any light anywhere. The knowingness of who and what I am, and that I'm connected to that, which we call source God, and the knowingness of that I am fundamentally loved and loved is steady in me at this point. So that's as always as I can say, you know, and to just to give some credence to the soul's evolution and the human experience that I too have. But that part that I'm describing, or do my best to put words on, is steady. Like, I don't like forget that.
Mm.
And I don't gauge how I'm feeling or what's going on in my life. That is no bearing on the truth of what I just said. So
Wow.
I've remembered my innocence, is another way to say it, right?
Mm.
And it's so funny to use words describing things like this. I'm much more operating from my innocence than I am from wisdom. Like some people are like, wow, you're very wise. And it's like, I do in a traditional sense have some wisdom, right? But inside of me, what's actually happening more often than not is I'm in this open space, which is innocence, which allows wisdom to flow, right? And I don't identify with wisdom, which is why wisdom doesn't limit me. And why it becomes, it's like innocence opens you to infinite intelligence. So yeah, I've a really good dynamic relationship in this sense of like wisdom and knowledge and innocence, right? Wisdom and knowledge, the way that I use wisdom and knowledge is through my innocence, right? Which is why it doesn't bound me, which is why I don't get stuck if I don't know how to do something or don't understand something. And it's ironic, because I don't get stuck and I don't have a judgment on that, then the channels, I just feel like even when I don't know, I feel like I know, because part of me knows. Same thing with you guys. That omnipotence, that all-knowing God, the creator, whatever, we're not separate from that. So even if I don't know something, I always feel like I do. That's why when somebody asks me a question, it just happens so fast in real time that sometimes it just looks like, man, this guy's just knows a lot of things. And I do know some things. I'm not saying I don't know a few things, but I'm saying the actual state that I'm existing in is more of a channeled state. It's more of a state of innocence. So I have access to wisdom, access to knowledge, but not bound by it. Not bound by it because I'm not identified with it. I'm not. And when we identify with knowledge, usually what's happening, or when we hold on to knowledge in any way, usually what's happening is that we're trying to feel safe in our hearts. We're trying to gain a sense of stability, and like, okay, if I know who I am and I know how to, like, you know, keep things, then I'll be safe. So this is another big piece that is coming in this moment here, is that the more we dissolve, evolve, you know, awaken into love and all the things that I'm describing, we come to get in touch with this, this deep safety that's not just based on like safety on a relative human level of, you know, feeling physically safe and even emotionally safe, which are valuable, but like a more of a transcendent safety, which is like an invincibility. And so deep in our vulnerability, like if you were to like take the vulnerability elevator down and take it to the most deepest, most naked place of vulnerability, what I've discovered, which was a revelation, is that it's actually the safest place to be. And that's not a suggestion. That's not advice. That's something that I think you'll just discover over time as you continue to like have, your moments of what could feel like a death and a rebirth, or it's like, oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna die and I didn't, or like you make it through something and then you see in hindsight, oh, life was really supporting me. That really worked out. Eventually over time, if that happens enough, then that hindsight becomes foresight because everything's sight is available in the now. Which, interesting fun fact. Raise your hand if you guys are still with me. Engaged? Okay, cool. I got an interesting angle with the light now. Like, oh, I am the light. Isn't it interesting? I was thinking about this before we got on the call. How is it that we're able to see in dreams without our eyes, or see in your imagination without your eyes? Think about that. Or how can we hear ourselves talk, but without our ears? And and who's talking? How do we speak? Well, I'm talking about in our minds, like we're talking to ourselves all day long, right? Most of us. But how do you speak without emitting like a vibrational tone? And then how do you hear it? And how do we see in our imagination and our dreamscape without our eyes? These types of questions are portals, if you let them be. It's like, that's pretty phenomenal that we're able to translate vibration in that way. So we're channeling all the time. And, I could go into all different angles on this and ways you can nurture and develop that. And I think that to summarize some of what has transpired in this transmission is that love and innocence is a huge part of it, right? Because we came into this environment. Most of us, probably all of us here, are sensitive beings and have been witness to so much light and frequency and information and ideas and beliefs and conditioning and on 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 and on, that our most natural state is like maybe more rare, right? And so it's like we can go through this complexity or this journey of discovery, but at any time we return, whether like you're in a flow state or you're in a channel state or your heart's wide open and you're in love again, then all of a sudden it's like waking up from a dream, or it can be, you're like, you see the simplicity of it again. You're like, oh, wait a minute, this is just who I am. To the human who's trying to achieve it or find it, it might seem supernatural, but when you're really there, just being yourself, you it's almost like, oh my God, it's the simple. That's it. I found the secret to life. It's simple, right? And so, love, truth, innocence. In a sense, purify our channel is one way to say it, and it's like over time, it's less and less distortion because there's less and less judgment on what is or what's being experienced or what's being felt.
This is one of those transmissions where I feel like I could listen to it a second time and get even more, and then listen to it a third time and get even more, and listen to it a fourth time and be like, wow, there was more there. Yeah. And I love receiving from Oren because I like receiving from people who I feel like I would like to be more like. You know what I mean? Like you get
Mm.
to know people and you see how they relate in everyday life and how they treat people, the quality of their relationships, the state of like their vitality, just how they move through life. Oren for me is someone that I love to receive from because I so admire how he is in life. Like I would like to be more like that. So
Aw,
ye-
thanks, Daniela. And I appreciate you saying that. And, you know, when we're connecting to our heart and our innocence and our own soul, our own home frequency, then it's much more empowering to learn from others, right? Without giving our power away, because it's just like you're feeling a vibration and a resonance. And if you're feeling something resonating inside you, inside someone else, it's because it's inside you, you know? And if you really get that on a, on a mental level, or not have your mind interfere, then that's a way that we can be more in this channeled state, be more in this quantum super learning state, which is so natural, but in a way that we're not absorbing someone else's consciousness, or we're not, because that's when we give our power away, right? Because we're perceiving separation. And so like for me, it's one of the reasons why I learned so fast, is because I've remembered how I learned when I was a baby. So like if I watch like I remember watching Stephen Curry. I don't know if any guys are into basketball, but he's like the greatest shooter of all time. Oh, nice. Nice, Jules. When I started watching him and learning, I was very much like, I'll watch a video, I'm like this, not just in awe because he's like Superman, but like a baby. Right. So now I'm not just like going, how do I do that? Or I can't do that. I'm not Stephen Curry. He's the greatest of all time. That's all mental noise. Right. And so if you trim down the mental noise and then you're just in the love, right? It's just like, oh, yeah, yeah. Then there's no separation. Literally. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like, because I can only feel him in me. It's so subtle what I'm saying, but it's so huge. I can only feel him in me. So when I say there's no separation, there's literally no separation. And as I'm in this love and I'm feeling what it feels like when he's shooting or making these incredible shots, that feeling, that vibration, if I let it enter me without the I coming in going, but now how do I do it? Or how do I figure this out? Or I this, or I that, or I'm not Stephen Curry. I'm more being at one with what it is that I'm observing and I'm resonating with. And so then that starts to integrate and infuse itself into me. And then how that translates is then what looks like, wow, I learned to shoot like Steph Curry really, really, really fast. It's because I'm not creating separation. I'm not like, oh, he's a superstar and here's little old me. Does that make sense? And that's manifestation. So
yes.
that's another way to describe manifestation, channeling manifestation. It's like you're channeling a reality that you're wanting to create. And I wanted to give that example. And I like that the baby example come in, because it's like to show the profound simplicity of it and how natural it already is to us. And when you are able to, and you all have your own example of this, right? When you're able to witness something or be in the presence of something, maybe it's because it doesn't matter that much to you, right? Where you're just more in a state of appreciation and you're more just like open-hearted in that vibration, then you're literally allowing yourself to merge with the frequency of the whatever. If it's a performance, it's information, but you're merging with the frequency. When you merge with the frequency of something, you're starting to channel that station. And that's manifest station at its core.
Brilliant. I love the way this summit is coming together, like how each day, each speaker builds upon the one before it. It's so perfect. And then what you just said at the end, that was a big theme of our of our summit, releasing any sort of, in a sense, maybe pedestaling of like the people that we perceive as channels or teachers
Right.
or guides for us. And you worded it brilliantly.
Yeah. Don't put anyone above or below you,
Yeah.
ideally. And that's love though, right? Or it's acceptance, it's compassion, not putting anyone above you. You can respect and
Mhm.
honor and admire someone's skills or wisdom or something that they have practiced or they've attuned to, but you have the same access point as they do. And if it's resonating inside you, if you feel it's resonating, then it's inside you, literally. Like not kind of, literally. It's the human mind that goes, yeah, but you don't know. No, that's not me. It's like, well, who's me? All right. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, who's me? We're not a solid entity. We're not one expression. We're not. We are that which is the source of all expressions. I think the closest thing to me would be our soul, and its unique texture and individuated kind of expression of divinity. But everything else, it's like, it's malleable, it's changeable, and this is where understanding or awakening to who we are is ultimately what I see is also happening when we're channeling. It's like we're expanding our sense of identity into a greater context. Soul, true self, the infinite. And you can, if you want to look at like this on like, one way to practice this is just create spaces for yourself to unconditionally express, right? Because the unconditional acceptance and the unconditional allowance of expression, regardless of what the format is, whether you're dancing or sitting down with a friend and saying, hey, I want to practice channeling with you, what you're doing is practicing being yourself, right? What you're doing is you're using a container, for example, to give yourself permission to return to your innocence and to forget about judgment and trying to do things right for a hot second. Right. But when you do that, it's not like you have to achieve the channel state. It's like if you do that in a way that you actually successfully give that permission to yourself, then it's almost like you're literally going like this and you just open up your aperture. So, and you see what I'm saying? It's not like you're achieving that or you have to do something. It's already natural. So most of the kind of in and out of it is mainly psychological. It's mainly judgment. And that's why maybe when you're dancing, you're like, oh, I'm not causing any harm. This isn't important. It doesn't have anything to do with my work. It's like, it's a good thing. So then maybe you have a built-in permission slip to just completely express yourself. Right. But what I'm saying is that you can even create that for yourself. That's the beauty of having someone in your life that's a great mentor or somebody that loves you unconditionally, and or being in the presence of somebody who is embodying love is kind of like a permission slip to just be all of yourself. And so is this making sense? Just want to give you guys like the biggest foundational pieces, and then there's all the exercises or things you can do, or like creating circumstances to practice channeling, but to just know like, what is it, and what allows it, what disallows it.
Amazing. Thank you, Oren. Haley says, yes, that's one of the many benefits of being in your community. Do you want to share with us ways in which we can dive in deeper with you and receive more from you?
Yes. I started a community, channeled it, started with God, called the Limitless Circle. And Haley, who's my right hand, who's on here. She can drop a link for you. I almost forgot. We have something super exciting. So there's the free community. It's called the Limitless Circle, and it's absolutely wonderful. And I share a lot of insights and codes and master classes, and there's a community interaction, and it's just a vortex of goodness, right? So there's that's one way to powerfully connect with me. And then my Inner Circle membership, which I do these live Oracle transmissions where this today would be like one aspect of it, like a transmission, but then there's like hot seat laser coaching. Basically, you can come get oracled and transform with me. And we are running a special. We just came up with this last night, where you can join us for a month for free. After that, it's a low cost. I feel like the cost to value ratio is sufficiently disproportionate, but you can come join us for free and like hop into an Oracle session with me. And it's one of my favorite ways to serve, and one of the most potent and powerful ways that I can serve. And it's free. So if you join, then we are, we'll announce when the next date of the next Oracle session is. And Haley, if I'm missing something, she's already on it. Thanks, Haley. So my free community, my Inner Circle membership, and Instagram, I'm at Oren Harris. And then my website is orenharris.com, ORENHARRIS.com. Yeah. Any other questions? Anything else that wants to be shared? Anyone have a burning question about anything I shared or about channeling? Or
That
Daniela?
was epic.
Yeah.
That was epic. Yeah, I've been reading the chat. So much love and appreciation for you, Oren. Cindy says it has been mind-blowing.
You know, something I just thought of, Daniela, because I've received from you before. I don't know how many of you have received from Daniela, like in one of her sessions. She's amazing. You're actually one of two people that I've ever received from in that way ever. So shout out to you. Yes, Daniela is amazing. I was going to say something. It just slipped me. I got lost in my love for Daniela.
Thanks, Oren. Yeah, and just to speak to Oren's offerings, I know that Avea is part of his Limitless Circle. You all met Avea yesterday. And she just raves. Like, she has told me, she's like, I can't fathom how I'm getting all of this for like this price. Like, she has said that. She finds it incredible. I really love the way Oren perceives and relates to life, and how his transmissions can bring, I mean, you experienced it today, but I've experienced his one-on-one transmissions, and they really can, I feel like they simplify things that can sometimes feel so complicated and challenging in our own consciousness. It's like simple, ease, love, clarity, like it's like kind of this feeling of like, oh.
I remembered what
I
remember what I was going to say is that at the beginning of your sessions, you connect in your own way through prayer, invocation. And that's something I actually used to do quite a bit. Definitely when I started like coaching and mentoring, or doing like an oracle session, I would say like some sort of a prayer or invocation that would essentially get myself out of the way. I can give you an example if you want. But then what I realized is that, I don't want to just be connected to the stream of infinite intelligence when I'm doing a coaching, mentoring, or oracle session. What if I was in my relationship and in my business, and I started to see on a greater scale of like, oh, if I'm really wanting to ground that frequency of my soul into it with my human, then what if I allowed that same stream in every single area of my life? And so then even if I was going to go meet with someone, I used to just set my intention, right, for who I'm wanting to be, who I'm choosing to be, unconditional love, openness, intimacy. And so I started to set the standard and the space for all of my interactions to at least allow myself to be connected. Not that I'm going to be channeling all the time in this way, but to be open. And so I would say intentions or prayers going into business meetings, right? To just set the standard. It's like, okay, well, if your oracle's strong over here or your channel is strong over here, what about it coming into your relationship? What about utilizing it in your business if you have one? And I did that very intentionally. And one simple way to do that is if you have your own prayer or invocation, and maybe you guys covered that, but it's something that's so simple. I still do it sometimes before I come on a call, some version of, dear God, I give this to you, allow me to be a space of unconditional love. I release all time, all mind, all judgment, all past, and just make an offering to offer up and open yourself up to a space before you go into a space. Is that helpful? Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe Daniela will help you guys with that, but you can come up with your own, and I actually recommend it, especially if you're coming into spaces in service.
Yeah. What you're bringing forth is also part of my Akashic Metamorphosis training. It's my 9-month online training that opens you to channel. I know so many of you present here, the ones I'm seeing on video, many of you have taken my training more than once. And this, how do you feel? Is there anything else you'd like to share, Oren, or do you feel complete?
I feel complete. I just wanted to share that one last piece because it came to me of like something that you can take away to integrate and kind of open yourself more to channeling or to that channel state is just your own prayer invocation. The words don't matter so much as that you're connected to your heart, because like it's light language, right? Like someone said, it's like the divine understands. It's not like you have to explain yourself, but basically it's just a way of opening yourself. And the more you do that, it literally is like building a muscle. It's like you're literally like almost like practicing. You're saying, I'm available for this. I'm available for this. And so I've done that a lot and just in my life, period. That's all. I feel complete.
Beautiful. Thank you, Oren. Yeah, it makes such a difference to have like that intention, that invocation, which helps us to open up and then bring forth this divine perspective, this divine energy into our lives, which can be so life-changing. It can be so supportive in all levels. And I really love something that Oren spoke to today that I remember. I mean, he spoke to so much, but one thing that he said at one point was that he feels very consistently grounded in the knowing of who he is as one with source, as loved and as love. And I feel like as we open up to channel, we're consistently bringing in that perspective, that knowing, that remembering, and it becomes more and more an aspect of our consciousness that we're just aware of in our everyday life, which is what Oren is experiencing, which is what I then experience having him as a friend and having him as a mentor. So thank you, Oren.
You're very welcome. Oh, one other thing I forgot is when I did the Oracle with Chelsea and she invited me in as a guest speaker, she basically told her community that I was going to do a little mini master course on channeling and being an Oracle. And so I'm happy to share that with you, and you can share it with your community when I have it ready. But that's being called forth through me. So it's something that I'm going to create and then offer to whoever wants it. So I'll share that with you, Daniela. And if any of you guys are interested, it's a subject I am deeply interested in and deeply embodied in, I would say, and that I haven't done a lot of like training or teaching. That's why as I'm speaking to you, I'm like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, that. So I'm gonna, yeah, put something together. I'm excited about that. That is all.
Amazing. I'm excited for that too. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, many of us present here, I think, that feel called to this path of developing our oracular gifts and opening to channel. Hmm.
Mm. You
Just
guys are
tuning
so
into the
beautiful.
chat. Yeah, this
Thank
group
you
has been
for,
amazing.
thank you, everyone. Jules, Catherine, Cadence, everyone. I don't say everyone's name, but I see you guys smiling at me. I appreciate you. Randall, it's got my last name. I've been feeling you. Been feeling all of you guys, even though we haven't been interacting. Yeah, I feel things. And I appreciate you all. And thank you again, Daniela. I adore you. I love you. And I love you all.
Love you, Oren. Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you, Oren, and we love you too.
Thank you.
Mm.
Hmm. Beautiful. Oh, that was incredible. I really am going to listen to the replay. That was unbelievable. That was amazing. That was so multi-layered. So I'm just tuning into the chat, reading all of your messages. Yeah. Wow. Raya says, I feel like, or Vienna says, I feel like I've taken a magic potion in the presence of these beautifully gifted souls. I already feel the activation so palpably, propelling me to new heights with my offerings. So grateful to all the amazing guest speakers. All their teachings, wisdom, and insights have been so powerful and profound, feeling supercharged and an amplified vibration of love moving forward. A million thank yous. So much love to you all. That is our prayer. That is our intention for all of you to feel that amplified vibration of love, to know yourselves as channels. So my deepest prayer is that you've received it. This summit has been an offering of love, a gift to you all, and I'm so grateful to you investing your precious and sacred time and energy and attention to be here present with us, to co-create this experience with us. I know that the energy you bring is contributing to this collective space, and it has been incredible. It's been so beautiful. So thank you for all that you've brought. I so love and appreciate all of you. I feel you as family. I have felt so connected to everybody throughout this summit. I know there are some of you that are tuning in now and perhaps weren't with us from the beginning. The replays are going to be available to you on my Thinkific for free until March 10th. After that, they're going to be turned into a course. So with the course, you're going to have various PDFs and prompts, practices. There's going to be more added to this summit. It's not just going to be the replays. The course is going to be available to you to purchase at 80% off for only $44 until March 10th. And then you'll have lifetime access to not only the recordings, but everything that's going to be added to this. Yeah, Oren says, thank you all for how you received me and were being with me. It co-creates the fields. That was an incredible transmission. And I so know that was co-created. And then also Haley sent the link. If you guys want to sign up for Oren's free newsletter, the link is there in the chat. So the replays will be there for you. I so encourage you to tune in if you feel the inspiration, especially if you're feeling called to develop your own channel. In the replays underneath, you'll find where to connect with every single speaker. If you feel called to receive from any of the speakers, to book, some of them are offering one-on-one sessions, others are offering courses. All of that information is there. If you missed a day, I do recommend tuning in. We really had some incredible speakers. And for those of you who are feeling called to offer your energy and devotion to the development of your channel, like if this is something that you really want to dive into and give your energy to, then I would love to invite you to Akashic Metamorphosis. That is the 9-month-long online training that I offer, where you will be learning how to channel. You're going to be, well, there are many different modules, and I don't even know how to start in describing it, but essentially you're going to be developing your channel, working with your intuitive and psychic sight, developing your spiritual gifts, and you'll be offered these different practices that help you open up to channel. It can be supportive when we're in a community and actively practicing. You're going to be partnered at different times with people so that you have the opportunity to practice, and it's an experience that'll like creates a place where you can actively develop and play with the cultivation of your channel. So if you are interested, I would love to receive you in Akashic Metamorphosis. Yay! Heather says definitely buying this course and looking into Akashic Metamorphosis. I am thrilled. Yeah, I love you all so much. This was amazing. Thank you. Channeling is like my life's greatest passion, and I love that you all are into it too, clearly, if you're here. So thank you, thank you. We have our last call on March 9th, and that's going to be a transmission from me, followed by a Q&A with me and Stephanie. Stephanie is a very gifted Akashic practitioner. She took my training back in 2017, I believe, for the first time. She actually flew to LA from Florida to take it in person. And then she's taken every training ever since. She's been to every retreat I've hosted. She is so devoted to this practice, and she is such a gifted practitioner. I receive from her sometimes, and it's like amazing. So she's going to be on that call with me, and she's going to be offering her perspective around developing your Akashic channel. And yeah, that call's on March 9th, and we're giving you until March 9th so that you can take your time with the replays, so that you can integrate everything that you've received here. And then on March 9th, you'll have the opportunity to bring your questions. And after that, that'll be the completion of this course, of this summit. Just tuning into the chat box. Yay, Diane, welcome to my world. Jules says, I have Daniela to thank for opening my channel. I'll be taking her course for a 3rd time to enhance my skills with my clients even further. Jules, I so love who you are as a practitioner. It's amazing, and I'm honored to have you in the course for the 3rd time. I love you all so much. I'm going to miss you. I'm really going to miss you. Not going to see you till March 9th. This has been amazing. And you're welcome to connect with me, like email me, reach out to me on Instagram if you use Instagram. I so welcome your communication. I'd love to stay close and connected. And I'm wishing you such a beautiful integration. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Much love to you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you so much.
See you in a few weeks.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you,
you.
Daniela. You're such a sweet being. I love you.
Thanks
I
again,
love you,
Oren.
Monica. Love you, Soul Fam. Have an amazing day.